And Charlie is not only strong, but also the key means seems to be very powerful. Otherwise, how could Ichiro give him all the shares of Kobayashi Pharmaceutical 90? Therefore, he felt that they should try to avoid the conflict with Charlie as much as possible, otherwise, he might cause a big trouble. So, he hurriedly changed the topic and said, "Mr. President, I don't think you should worry about Kobayashi Pharmaceuticals' $4.5 billion United States dollars now. The money will definitely not run away. It's just a matter of coming back early or late. Don't forget, the Chinese East Cliff Su family will be coming soon." Ito Takehiko frowned and asked, "Did the Su family say that the specific day has come?" "No." Tanaka Hiroshi said, "They said they would come at any time. After all, the trip is a private jet. You can fly anytime you want." After speaking, Tanaka persuaded, "My president, the Su family is not only watching this opportunity, but also the Takahashi family. I heard that the Su family came here this time. Choose one of the Takahashi family to be a partner. At this time, you must not make any extravagance." Takehiko Ito gritted his teeth and nodded, and said, "In this case, I will bear the wave of the kid named Wade, and you will keep an eye on him. If he does not leave Japan for the time being, then I will leave him alone. Take down the Su family cooperation first." Thinking of the Su family's cooperation, Ito's expression looked a little melancholic. Sitting in the car, he sighed and said with emotion, "Koichi, in the past 10 years, the speed of our national economy has been relatively slow, so the strength of several top families, including our Ito family, has shrunk somewhat. And the successor is weak." Hiroshi Tanaka hurriedly asked, "My president, we once led the world in its development speed in the decades after the war. Why hasn't it kept up with it in the past decade?" Ito said with regret, "There are many reasons for this lag in economic development. Firstly, because Japan's local resources and land have been very scarce. Secondly, because Japan has not made major innovations in the internet and high-tech fields in recent years." With that, Ito Takehiko continued with emotion, "You see, many Japanese companies that had advantages in various fields more than 10 years ago have gradually lost their original advantages in these years. Look at the previous companies such as Sony, Panasonic, Hitachi and Toshiba. They are all in the world. I think that Sony's color TVs were the best in the world and sold all over the world. Sony Ericsson's mobile phones were also world-renowned, Panasonic and Hitachi's home appliances, and Toshiba's semiconductors are all top class in the world, but what about now? All are gradually declining. Most of the TVs in the world are produced in China, which are cheap, affordable and cost-effective. The world's mobile phones are divided into two parts. The United States Apple occupies a large part, and the remaining large part is China's Huawei, Xiaomi, Vivo and Oppo. What about Japanese mobile phones? Even South Korea's Samsung is absent, and it's already decadent. Koichi Tanaka couldn't help but feel frustrated. "Mr. President, you are right. We in Japan have indeed completely lost many traditional advantages, especially in electronic products." Ito sighed, "More than electronic products?" In addition, Japan's steel industry was once the world's top. Our special steel, even the Americans have to look up. But because Kobe Steel was exposed to a long-term fraud scandal. And it plummeted. Originally, Japan's Shinkansen technology was the world's best. High-speed rail technology was invented by us. The strength was unique in the world. But who would have thought that China's high-speed rail would come to the top, so that our Japanese high-speed rail technology and the high-speed rail technology of Germany and France all decreased into the second rate in the world. Japan's Shinkansen has also lost a lot of overseas markets. Koichi Tanaka also kept sighing. We, the Ito family, hold different proportions of shares in the companies you mentioned. They are lonely, and our assets are shrinking. This is indeed a very serious problem. Takehiko Ito hates that iron cannot be made into steel and said, "Not only that, but the most important thing is that our young people in Japan are seriously lacking in creativity as a whole. Look at China in the past few years. A large number of world-class internet companies have been born, such as Tencent, Alibaba, Toutiao, JD.com and Pinduoduo, as well as DJI drones that account for more than 70% of the world's drone market. In contrast, Japan has never had an influential internet company in recent years. If we continue to develop like this, we will lose all our advantages. Hiroshi Tanaka nodded. In contrast, the top families in China, with the continuous development and progress of all walks of life, their wealth and influence are also increasing. They now have the ability to directly challenge Europe and the United States. They don't put Japanese companies in their eyes at all. That's it. Ito said with melancholy. Before, they were still chasing us. As a result, in the blink of an eye, they surpassed us and chased the United States, but we were left behind by them. In the back of our heads, so that we now want to make a breakthrough in business, we have to turn back to please the Chinese family. It really responds to the old Chinese saying, 30 years in Hadong and 30 years in Hexi. Speaking of this, Ito Takehiko seriously said, because we have been stagnating and China has been developing rapidly, we now need to be firmly tied to China's top families. This time the Su family's cooperation is right. For us, the significance is very important and should not be lost. Hiroshi Tanaka nodded in a hurry and blurted out, President, please rest assured, I will definitely go all out. The Japanese economy has been sluggish in recent years.